Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody.
Yes.
How's your Cinco de Mayo going, Jimmy?
It's going great. Just
Yeah, is it?
Been eating. I had a taco today.
Good.
I lied about that. I did not eat a taco.
All right. I had taco. I had two tacos actually, because it's
And
Tuesday.
it's Tuesday.
And this first guest coming to the live. You wanted me to do the intros, so this is what's going to happen. I'm going to just awkwardly and clumsily. This guy is a funny comedian. I've known him for years. Started in the Orlando scene and is in Los Angeles killing it. Nick Pupo, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, Nick.
Oh, I clicked it.
He's coming.
Okay.
There's Nick. Hey, Nick.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
Can we hear Nick? I
Can you
think
hear
we
us?
can now.
Okay, hello.
Hello.
What's
How
up,
are you,
guys?
Nick?
I'm okay.
Not much.
Yeah.
No,
what's
you're in
going on?
Los Angeles?
You having a good
Yeah.
you having a good Cinco de Mayo?
Oh, that's today. Yeah. No, no day is good.
Every day is garbage and the dates
Yeah.
don't matter.
No,
Yeah,
I really. Good.
What have you
Oh,
been
to be
doing during
honest,
this
I
whole
just-
quarantine thing?
God, we gotta get this. We gotta get this down.
I know
It's
the
gonna be a
rhythm. The
long
rhythm's
night.
hard with these things, man. All right. Who wants to ask?
Jimmy, you go right ahead.
No, you go, Ramon.
Okay. Nick, how's the whole quarantine going? How's the whole pandemic going over there in California?
It's bad. Everything's really bad right now. But we're trying to stay positive. I went to the grocery store today. Went to Trader Joe's, and I think Trader Joe's is the only place that's doing it right.
Really?
Yeah, they're the only ones that really care. I mean,
How do they care?
well, they have you. They only keep like 20 people in the store at a time. They make you wait in line 6 feet away from each other. They're very, very careful with everything. They got a great system.
Nice.
So I feel like they really care. My girlfriend pointed out that they probably don't care about the employees and how much they pay them, but they do care about how they treat us, which is
Are
They
the
care about
employees
us.
wearing masks?
everybody's wearing masks. Yeah, everybody's got masks on. You guys are still in Florida, right?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh. No one's doing that here. Not a lot of masks. Employees wear masks, but like, is everyone that's shopping at the grocery store, do they all have masks on?
Yeah, it's a requirement here. Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Well, that's nice. It's not a requirement here. It seems like 1 out of 5 people wear a mask, and the people who aren't wearing a mask look like they should wear a mask, even if there wasn't a pandemic.
Sure. Yeah. I'd like to
You know?
see most people just cover half your face. That would be nice.
Yes, common courtesy.
All right.
Yeah, it's really good for like someone who's like an introvert like me and is not good with social interactions. I love going into stores and like hiding my face and like,
Yeah.
I like.
You wear the sunglasses. You carry a gun. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do the
it's my
same
right.
stuff.
As an American.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, Florida ready.
So what have you been doing to kill time during this quarantine?
I mean, a lot of different stuff, man. But it's mostly. I mean, here's the thing, man. It's a lot of panic. That's the problem. Is most of it is just like sitting home and just panicking about the state of the country and the world, and then in between that is video games, sometimes meditation.
Well, that's good.
My girlfriend and I have started working out again, which has been helpful.
That's a positive.
Yeah, so we're doing yoga sometimes. We do, I do push-ups and squats every day now, and try to we're trying to write. It's fucking hard. Like writing anything is really hard. But I think we're realizing right now that this is going to be a long haul, especially here in LA and other cities that, clearly New York. But so we're finally kind of like normalizing this and buckling down and being like, you know, I might not get to do stand up for another year, you know? So it's like, at some point we have to figure out how we're just going to create stuff, you know?
Right. And it's hard to write when, you know, there's no stage to perform on and nowhere to get the stuff that you're writing out. So that kills my motivation a lot.
Yeah.
But it's like the new normal for now.
Yeah. I think the Zoom shows are, you know, I haven't been like too excited about the Zoom shows. You know, they're some can be fun dependent on like who runs them and stuff, you know, like there's some shows that are very awkward. But then there's some Zoom shows that are like a lot of fun and kind of feel almost like a stand-up show, you know?
I heard the Comedy Stellar's doing one, and they're doing a pretty good job with being more interactive with the audience. Like you could actually see all the screens and the people like watching you, and you could hear the laughs, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I think Zoom laughter is really weird. Like I haven't done one where you have like 30 or 100 people in the room or whatever. But yeah, I don't know, man. People are already seeming to get used to it. It's very interesting to watch, you know. Not the shows. Most of the shows are bad, but I think that it's interesting to just kind of see how society's handling this, you know.
Yeah. I think everyone has their sea legs right now when it comes to, or trying to get their sea legs when it comes to the new format of doing comedy on Zoom. But I feel like, you know, weeks from now, people are going to figure it out somehow or another, and they're going to crack the code. Like right now, it's just a disaster. It's awkward for everybody. It's like the worst nightmare. You're doing stand up, looking at yourself, hearing silence, and just hoping for the best. And then, you know, you exit and then just go cry in your bed for like the rest of the night afterwards.
Yeah. I saw there was some like virtual reality thing. I think this is going to put a big boost in like virtual reality stuff, you know?
Yeah, I think so too.
I think people are going to start getting bigger ideas. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I think who would I be in the Matrix? I'd like to be the guy the traitor, the guy who just because he wants the steak or whatever.
I was thinking the same thing actually. I was going to say that guy for you.
Yeah.
So are you quarantining with your girlfriend right now?
Yeah, we've been in her place for about 2 months.
How's that going?
Which is good. I mean, you know, we help motivate each other. It's a lot of like interchanging days. Like, you know, we have days where we're very positive and we work out and we maybe write some stuff, and then there's days where we like collapse in on ourselves and we fight with each other, and you know, just it's kind of, I mean, it's interesting because we had been dating for almost a year right before this happened, and we weren't living together, and then we were like, well, we should probably just like buckle in together for this. And so now
So this is the first experience you guys have living with each other, is starting during the quarantine?
Yeah.
That's quite the test.
Yeah, interesting, huh?
It'll go up from here, you know?
Yeah, maybe. There's really only two directions it can go.
Well, not necessarily. It could just stay like this, like Groundhog's Day, for another year or so.
That's true. Yeah, I guess a lot of people do that. No, I think we're good. We do really love each other, you know. So it's a good thing. We take care of each other. So
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Speaking of love, the Poop song 2020, I listened to that today.
Oh, good. What do you think?
It was great.
Thanks,
I like
man.
that you specified that you do put the poop in your mouth, but you don't eat it.
Don't eat it. Yeah, you don't want to get sick. You know?
Are you fucking nuts?
Yeah, you're not a crazy person. Yeah, I wrote that with John Cho, the Korean guy who's in that. He's a good friend of mine, and we wrote it probably like 2 years ago, and then we started playing it live, and people just really, really liked it, and so we had just been promising that we would put out a recorded version of it, and so
it's such an important message for today, you know.
These trying times, yeah, for sure.
Have you been TikToking?
No, I don't TikTok. I can't do that. I can't do. I don't. Here's the thing. I like talk a lot of shit about TikTok on Facebook and stuff, and then people get mad because they really like it, and
it's a big deal.
And I don't. I don't care what people do with their time. And if people want to make TikToks, like that's great. Some of them are funny, man. Occasionally, there's funny stuff in every platform.
Right.
You can't shit on an entire platform, but what I don't like about TikTok is the kind of stuff that goes viral on there is just not funny to me. It's just I just don't think it's funny. There's a lot of like the movie lines thing is really big. People are just like repeating, mouthing the movie lines and stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's fine, but that to me is like something cute that you send to your friends and family. It doesn't seem to me like something that should be shown to the world. It's not that interesting.
Now, like I don't know much about TikTok. I don't have one, but isn't it just like Zoom or what was that?
Vine.
Yeah, it was just like Vine, but instead it like records you when you're not listening or like when you're not around or whatever. It listens to your conversations.
It's longer than Vine. Vine was like 6 seconds, and TikTok is long, but it's the same basic concept.
I think
videos.
TikTok is interesting, and I'm glad that people have an outlet to put their creative ideas. I just think that I just don't like when stuff that is like not original and requires no talent or creative thought at all like goes viral because it's like topical. To me, it's like if you're gonna mouth the words to a movie, like what about that is interesting or creative?
Yeah, and some of it's a little suspect too. It's like it doesn't seem like it's organically going viral. It seems like it's getting pushed. Yeah,
well, a lot of these kids, that's the thing too, is a lot of the people a lot of like YouTube comedians and like Vine comedians and now TikTok comedians, a lot of them are rich, like they just come from money and their parents will pay to promote and push their stuff. Their parents will buy them a publicist. Their parents will buy them follows.
That's gotta be nice.
I mean, who knows? A lot of this is presumptuous, and I'm just like a negative, cynical fucking asshole who hasn't had the career he thought he would. So he's just got to put the blame somewhere, So.
Well, you got a TV show into a TV show pretty quick after moving to LA, right?
I was in a TV show. I was in a TV show while I was living in Orlando, actually. So I booked the show while I was in Orlando, working at a restaurant. And then I moved to Atlanta to shoot it. It was Halt and Catch Fire.
Catch Fire, yeah.
And so I moved to Atlanta to shoot that for about 6 months. And then I took the money that I made from that and I moved to New York to keep doing stand-up. Because that's what I wanted to do originally, was just move to New York.
Right.
So I just moved to New York, kept doing stand-up, went back to Atlanta for the third season and shot that. And then kept trying to do stand-up in New York. And then it just kind of I don't know. I just wanted to try LA. So all the money that I made was from Halt, and it helped me do a lot of things. And then I moved to LA and I ran out of all of it. And
right.
and now I'm just like still doing stand-up and then trying to book the next TV part. Luckily, I landed a couple of commercials last year, which helped, but it's been really tough.
Which commercials were you in?
I did a Ford commercial, which is not really worth mentioning. I'm not even really. You can see my face for a second. And then I did an Audible commercial recently, which is funny because they stopped playing it. And it was supposed to play for like a year, but they stopped playing it. And I think it's because the whole commercial is like, I'm in a kitchen with my wife, and then she leaves and she goes out into the city and she just like takes every transit that there is. She takes like a bus, a train, the fucking ferry, and then she comes home to me. And I think that they were just like, we cannot show. This is just a wife giving her husband COVID-19, like just going and like rubbing her whole body on the city of New York and then coming home straight to her husband. So
terrible timing on that one.
It's a bad look. Yeah.
It's funny how so soon like scenes like that really do like kind of like give me the heebie-jeebies. Like if I'm watching TV and they're like people are whispering to each other or like hugging and stuff, I'm like, yikes.
Yeah.
But what's weird is I was watching Westworld, and for whatever reason in Westworld,
how is that, by the way? Is it good?
the third season, I have no idea what's going on, and I'm on the last
that's what I've
episode.
heard.
Yeah.
Wait,
But
go on, man.
there's people in the background that have face masks on, and I'm like, what the hell's going? What is this? But I guess that they filmed it in Singapore, and people in Singapore wear masks. But it was a little trippy.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I wonder when were they filming that? That wasn't around the time that COVID was actually hitting Singapore, was it?
No, because it's the final episode was released on Sunday, so they must have filmed it last year at some point.
You know, what'd be really funny is if like we got COVID from Westworld. They filmed it where COVID started, and then they just brought it back to us. Thanks, Aaron Paul.
Hey, the first death was in California, right? So
that's
very
right.
Possible.
That's very
totally worth it, though. Great TV show.
Yeah, what I like about Westworld was, I mean, not really. There's really very few things, but I did like the first season, even though
it was good.
It was good. When looking back, it really is a show that is totally up its own ass. And then I remember by the time I watched the second season, I watched the premiere episode, and I was like, this is the least, like they are so up their own. Like every shot was like this whooping, like, ooh, look who it is. It's like, we remember that person.
Yeah, that's how far I got in the second season is the first episode.
I couldn't do it, man. And then I feel like the third season, they were just like, what do we do? Oh, let's get Aaron Paul, because he's the antidote.
And the other thing that's weird about that show is everyone talks to each other seductively, like they're trying to hit on each other. Like they literally like will be like whispering into each other's necks and trying to.
Those robots are mad horny.
Yeah.
Seems like it.
Isn't that where the robots' ears are though? Their necks.
Oh, like gills or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's season 2 was just reminded me of me playing Red Dead Redemption or something, just running around killing everybody. I don't know.
Great game, by the way.
Great game.
That is my game of choice right now.
Same here. That's really where I escape to.
It is like an escape because it's like, you're in the open country, you know. You get to take a fucking horse and just ride, man.
Yeah, I'll just go for a ride for like an hour, not just like pick some berries or something like that, and like maybe skin a pig or something.
Eat some sage.
Yeah, So
it's a great game. It really is a fucking great game.
Superior. I love that game. So I don't want to be controversial, and we don't want to be controversial about New York versus Los Angeles stand-up. But what do you prefer? Not necessarily prefer, but what differences do you notice mostly of New York versus California?
It's hard to say now that it doesn't exist in either city.
It's all dead. It doesn't matter.
I mean, New York. I mean, I think it's not really even controversial to say that New York is better for stand-up. I think that LA is one of the places that kind of like most other cities, it'll in waves. You'll get like really good waves of stand-ups, you know, and I think that New York is just more consistent and that it always kind of has like really good people circulating through. But I don't know. It's just New York there's a lot more. There's always more stage time. There's more there's more indie shows. There's more like you can like set you have a lot more goals in New York to like, I want to do this show. I want to do this show, this show, and this show. And they're really, really fucking great shows. I think in LA, there's just a smaller amount of that. And there's also like a smaller amount of like lower level, really good stand-up comics, like that are like that you look up to. Whereas in like New York, there's a lot of like guys that are around my age or that are about like 9, 10, 11 years in that are like really, really fucking good. And those are the comics that you like, you look up to. Whereas like in LA, it's more like really it's just like the big comedians, you know. There's like the.
Okay. Do you feel more on your own in LA than you did in New York in terms of like a stand-up community?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like New York is it's just the stand-up city. You know, it just is. It just is, and it's probably always going to be that, unless COVID just destroys everything. I feel like at some point there will be something that will destroy New York. And I feel like I know that's a very sad thing to say, but at some point New York is it's such a hot zone for every fucking thing that happens.
Yeah, no, so
any
vulnerable.
Bad thing, it's just like we're just asking for something horrible. That it's just it's a ticking time bomb. It is countdown until something ruins the entire.
Just give me like 30 years before that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a while, but I, you know, cynicism aside, I think I don't know. What was the last question you asked?
New York versus Los Angeles. What
community?
Oh, sorry.
Community.
Yeah.
Sorry, community was. Yeah, I think it's a much greater community in New York. What I found too was like there are like there's like cliques and then there's like sub cliques, but like the two major division of cliques, I think like the two big cliques were like the Manhattan comics and the Brooklyn comics. And I always thought that there were funny people on either side. I thought there were more funny people doing stuff primarily in Brooklyn, doing more interesting and not like over the top interesting experimental bullshit, but like actual like different, trying to be original, not just kind of being. And I also don't have a problem with like people who just want to be straight like fucking classic club comedian. Like I love all kinds of stand up, but like New York, there's all people are trying to do so many different types of things, and there's communities for like almost everything.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, when I would go up to New York when I lived upstate, I'd go every weekend for a while, and just like almost right away I found a little clique, and it was like the kind of comics that were on my level, and then like we just bonded right away. It was like it was really cool, and it makes the city shrink down because when you first get there it's gigantic and terrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think a good thing to do, man, is like this whole thing can feel a lot less like. I think that everybody should live. You should try to just live in live in a few different cities that are great for stand-up. If you want to like kind of know I'm so grateful that I lived in New York for a couple of years because I got to know like a ton of comedians that were really, really great. I made a bunch of friends. They're starting to do like really cool stuff and have always been like original and funny. And then when I moved to LA, then I meet all these other people, and the same thing happens. I find all these really great, funny people. You know, I find my new cliques. I'm like, you know, I learn all these new things from these people, and now I have like this community on the East Coast and the West Coast. I know the people from Atlanta. I know people in Austin from doing the road. I know people in other cities and states, and like obviously Florida, which is really nice. It's like I think it's good to kind of like. I just don't think that there is no, you know, there's no one answer, there's no one choice. I think that people kind of get like you know, people panic when they're trying to figure out like, oh, what's the best place to move to for stand up and what do I do? I think it's just kind of like, I don't know, man, there's so many different avenues.
You can't go wrong.
Just don't get famous on, just don't do famous TikTok shit. Just fucking.
Someone wrote in and said the thing that will destroy New York is Godzilla, so that's a possibility.
Well, that's fun. That's a cute way of yeah, I like that.
Hey,
I think that's the best thing that could happen, right?
Nick, do you want?
That's at least the coolest.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, especially if there's like a battle between Godzilla and some other moth or something, whatever it's going on.
I think if we died by a giant lizard and moth, I think there would be huge communities of people that would just be like, that's kind of awesome, you know?
It's kind of awesome. How do you think Trump would handle it?
I think he would throw the military at it immediately. But I think that
Space Force.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder how Trump would handle. That is very interesting. Actually, I wonder.
We have the best lizards. America has the best lizards of all the.
Yeah. Maybe he'd just be rooting for the lizard. I mean, the lizard is because the story with Godzilla, right, was that it was the lizard that destroyed the city, but then later different moth-like creatures or fucking sea creatures came and started fighting it, and then we were like rooting for Godzilla, right? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Because at some point I feel like we're just watching these two things fight in the sea, and we got to be voting for one, right? We got to.
Yeah, it's kind of like when LeBron James is playing for Cleveland, and you're like, screw LeBron James. But then when he moves to Los Angeles, everyone's like, LeBron James, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't watch sports at all, but I'm going to nod my head and believe it.
Nobody watches sports
Yes.
anymore, man.
Yeah.
Sports is dead. Comedy's dead. We're all
That was
just,
in the before times.
All there is Zoom shows.
This is all there is, man. Get used to it.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about
exciting.
your Facebook page that you created?
Oh yeah, sure. I bombed. I created a Facebook page called I Bombed, and it's cool, man. I don't want to say it's like it kind of did take off in a way, which was cool. I think the response that I got from it was really positive, and I don't know, man. I think what's cool about I Bombed to me is that for a very personal thing for me, is that we all spend so much time trying to like be creative and figure out like what is the original thing that I need to do, like what's this thing that I'm going to do that's going to like take off, or how do I make it, or whatever. I think it's cool when you just do something that's like kind of like I don't know, like throwing shit at the wall, and then it suddenly something works. It's like when you write a tweet or something, and then suddenly your tweet gets a lot of attention. You're like, oh, that was the one that I thought didn't fucking matter,
It's like discovering a superpower, but then when I watch you on that page, it seems like you're burdened by the superpower that you have.
Right. Yeah. I think that so the group started by I bombed one night, and then I went on to Facebook and I created a group called I Bombed, and then invited like 30 people, and then within like a couple months it was at like or maybe like a few months it was at like 1,500 or something. We have like 2,000 members now, which is cool. It's not like there's a lot of Facebook groups with like 40,000 people, and it's about like shooting bears in the forest, and that's like true. There's like hunting Facebook pages with like tens of thousands of people. It's like this is it's a relatively small community.
It's more
of people.
niche.
It's more niche. I feel like I don't know, man. It's something that, and it's not the most original thing. The thing is, like, there have been podcasts about bombing. There have been books about bombing. There have been all these different things about bombing. But this was just like a cool little thing that was like simple. And it's like, here's where we can.
Looks like we're
Nick.
We're losing your feed a little bit there. This is a common occurrence with the new Zoom world that we're in. As we lose the feeds.
Imagine if that happened in real life. Like you're just talking to someone and then they just go and then disappear.
I think that happens in Westworld. People just start glitching and they're like,
Yeah. Well, I didn't see any of the second season, but
second season, I don't know. It was okay. It wasn't the best.
I just like the idea of just having sex with a robot. God, is he so Nick?
Nick is he's gone, but we're gonna wait and see if he pops back in again. All right.
We are in dead air right now. On dead air or in dead air? Or with dead air? Let's see what the folks are saying. Oh wow. Not saying? Much.
Dave Clark is on. Brian Potter is watching.
Dave Clark says we look like retards. I do not like that word, Dave.
You said that word? Dave Clark.
Can you believe that?
For shame. Yeah. So anyway, like
just I made that up.
Nick and me, we've been all right. Here he goes. Wait for it.
There
he is.
There he is.
Sorry.
What's up, guys?
This is the future. This is what we have to do now. You'll be on stage and you'll just like disappear, and then you come back again.
Well, I'm glad I wasn't. I'm glad I wasn't like doing in the middle of some big act out in a bit. You know, nothing feels worse than like being in this crazy like, and then suddenly you're like doing that alone in your kitchen. You know.
And then you just pause. You're like, "Hello, are you there?"
Yeah.
So you were just talking about the Facebook page and how it got started and how it got built up to what it is.
Yeah. I was just saying I just like that it's a place for, because when you bomb on stage, you know, you always want to like tell somebody, because I would always like text if I bombed really hard, usually you text a comedian friend that you have and you're like, I just ate shit so fucking hard. And so it's just nice to have like a community of people, you know, where you just go on, you talk about it, and then, you know, you people like it, and then they relate to it, and then they tell their stories, and it's just cool, man. And I was supposed to make a podcast of it, a live podcast, and then all this shit went down. Now I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen with it.
I would get like monumentally depressed after, like, if I bombed, like especially early on. Do you get depressed if you bomb?
Oh man, I'm like hypersensitive about it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I've always had that. I think it's pretty common. Some people like kind of don't give a shit, and their whole philosophy is like, I think it was Shane Gillis, I think it was, who said that basically the way he looked at it was like, I do the joke. If it doesn't work, I watch the tape. I see what I did wrong. I fix it, and I do it again. And it's just a very straightforward way of looking at it. I'm sure he still feels kind of shitty when he bombs sometimes, but I think like that's inevitable. And
yeah, that's the way you have to look at it. But just emotionally, you can't help it. You eat shit, and you're just, especially early on when I first started doing stand up. If I bombed, my night was ruined. If I ate shit,
oh yeah,
it gets easier.
But that's what fuels you wanting to go back on stage to redeem yourself to yourself. You know.
Yeah, you're always kind of chasing the feeling of really killing. You know.
How has I haven't checked on the feed in a little bit since the coronavirus. Has anybody been posting any Zoom bombs?
Yeah, some people have talked about Zoom bombs, and then other people chimed in and they were like, is that even a bomb if you bomb on a Zoom show? It's like, yeah, man, fucking shut up. You know, like, if people
like to shit on Zoom
stand up. What's up?
People like to shit on Zoom shows.
Yeah, well, I think it's really easy to do that. And I was not for it when it started happening. I was like, I just didn't think this was going to be a thing. I didn't think so. I was just like, nah, I think I'm okay. I think within a month we'll be back. I'll spend that time writing. But now I'm like, I'll do your fucking Zoom show. I'll do whatever at this point.
Exactly. Why not?
Yeah, because at this point, for the people who are waiting, they might be waiting a year, and then people who have been doing Zoom shows are going to have a leg up and possibly be in a whole new platform advantage also.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's a good learning lesson for stand-ups who want to, you know, who want to do this. It's just whatever life throws at you, just try to adapt as quickly as possible, you know?
Yeah.
And don't go against the grain so much, and just kind of accept that, like, hey, this might be the norm for a while. Get used to it.
There's no comedy clubs, but at least there's Red Dead, you know, so you go from stage time to stage time, you know?
If you could just do stand up in Red Dead, then that would be the perfect life.
Hey,
that would probably happen.
I think
talk to Rockstar about that.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be great. I mean, I think that at some point there might be. I think that it was like Reggie Watts posted something the other day on Instagram of this weird virtual reality world that like a game that he was playing, where like he was playing a concert and like a bunch of people were watching, but it was like set up where like he had an avatar on stage and there were like a bunch of other little avatars watching him and stuff. So I was like, I wonder how the future of that. He's really into that kind of virtual reality and the future of it and what it's going to look like. And I think it's interesting because in times like these, if we lived in like a Black Mirror world where like we could just put on a fucking helmet and then be basically back into life, I think it would actually be good for our mental health if we could like go meet up with our friends and like, you know, at a bar and it looks real.
And that's how it begins. And then eventually we'll just get like permanently locked up to the machine, whatever. Like where's that movie Surrogates with Bruce Willis, where everyone goes out with their robot version of themselves, but we'll have a digital version of ourselves.
I didn't know anyone saw that movie.
Well, I did.
I'd send, if I could have a robot version of myself, I would program it to all of my new jokes and I would send it out. And then I would be like, come back with the recorded tape and let me watch how you did. Because that's the thing with stand-up at this point is just like open mics. I'm so fucking tired of going to open mics, but like you have to try out new material. So it's like, if I could have somebody just do that for me and then I could just see it and then learn and then go do like the shows that I fucking care about.
But it might end up being like Westworld where the robot thinks it's actually real and just goes out, steals your jokes and does the circuit.
Yeah.
Then you kill him.
Just like talk shit about me and stuff. Yeah.
Evil Nick.
Yeah, he
so
just
Nick,
like roasts me the whole time.
You have anything you want to plug?
Yeah. No, I mean, no, there is nothing. But I think if, you know, man, you can follow the iBomb on Instagram. There's nothing going on there at this point, but you know, at some point there's going to be a podcast of it. And you know, we probably won't be able to do a live show until 2021.
Could do a Zoom.
Yeah, we might do a Zoom. I've thought about it. I honestly, I've just wanted to kind of do other kinds of comedy writing and kind of stray away from too much of this Zoom stuff. But at some point I'm going to do it anyways.
Yeah. It's the perfect opportunity to focus on the things like writing and other creative things while we're at home and we have nothing else to do. But
fuck yeah.
Grass.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, man, for doing the Zoom. It was good seeing you.
Nick.
Good talking
hey, man,
to you.
it was a lot of fun, man. You guys are great.
Thank you.
So thanks for having me on.
Yeah, good luck with everything, Nick.
Thanks. You too, guys.
Stay safe.
Take
Talk to you
care.
soon. Bye.
Yeah, bye.